Objectivity is a necessary component when you're trying to avoid misinformation. And it seems like a lot of the black voices are losing some of their objectivity because they're so frustrated and disillusioned with the Democrat Party. Frustration seems to get in the way of that objectivity. And I understand where it's coming from because the Democratic Party, specifically Biden and Kamala, have been particularly frustrating, especially after vocally stating things like, "We'll have your back." The problem comes, though, when you have these people with their frustrations starting to use their platforms to advocate for the Republican Party, to advocate for Trump. I talked about it not too long ago that Marcel for Congress had mentioned something about being pro-Republican and so on and so forth, and he started posting pro-Trump rhetoric, and I found it to be very, very problematic. So when I called him out for this and asked him for a conversation, because he happens to be disseminating this information towards his constituency, of course I was met with a bunch of resistance. Not only that, this person named CeCe Friedman, who was also another positive, prominent black voice, or so I thought, began attacking me. Not only was she defending Marcel and his pro-Trump rhetoric, she also was attacking me and calling me a non-Friedman, a non-ADOS, calling me an immigrant, all sorts of nonsense that had nothing to do with the conversation at hand. And I'm as black as they come. Blew my mind. But it hurts me even more so when you see some of the voices that you respect the most, because I'd already kind of detailed how I had had a conversation with Lucas in which I was trying to talk to him about Kanye when Kanye West was wearing a White Lives Matter shirt, signal boosting Candace Owens. That conversation went abysmally, which made me lose all my faith in that dude. In fact, I'm going to play for you the entire video here. You listen to the nonsense that I'm encountering here.
Okay, so then that means now that he intentionally...
I don't know that to be fact.
Wait, do you think that?
Did they in fact have a photo shoot?
Well, I'm sorry, not a photo shoot, but they took the picture. They posed and took the picture together, right?
I don't know as far as the entire context of that photo.
I'm not talking about the entire context, since you don't. I don't. The entire context.
Well, I think that context matters.
Well, no. The entire context is a very vacuous and vague statement. So now let's go ahead and reduce it to elements that we can agree on, so we can continue the conversation.
I agree.
So the first element that I'm talking about,
as far as him wearing the shirt, not the best look.
No.
However,
no. That's not the point that I made. That's being reductive. Listen, the point that I'm talking about, the thing that you said you don't know all the context, and I don't know all the context, but I don't need to know all the context. What I know is certain specific elements that I'm trying to establish with you now. One of those elements is this.
I agree with your elements that you've established.
Well, I've barely even spoken them out, and you've interrupted both times when I've tried to. Here, let's try. So, okay. So then, do you agree that she tried to take the pic? I mean, that he knew and knowingly took the picture with her? All right, so you're not actually interested in a real conversation, like, because anytime somebody actually tries to bring up a valid point or something, you just kind of start doing the antics and nonsense. So you're not really trying to have an actual conversation. You're not actually trying to be contended with. You're not really like going to be good faith in the conversation. That's what I'm saying.
I'm listening to you. I thought that's what you wanted.
No, I made the point that I was trying. Bro, come on, let's not be ridiculous here. Like you're actually this is silly. Like just have a good faith conversation.
You just told me that I was interrupted. I gave you
and then what
more than ample time.
And then I made my point. So you feel like the only other thing, there's no middle ground between interrupting me and then getting up and walking away in the middle of the conversation and then just leaving dead air when I asked the question?
I thought that's what you wanted. You wanted to speak. I told you that we didn't have a disagreement on the points that you made.
What point did I make, Lucas?
As far as the shirt and how it wasn't a good look and him amplifying that message.
That's not the point that I was making. The point that I was making was that him wearing the shirt with Candace Owens signals a very specific message. But you would hear that if you weren't interrupting and
Is
listening.
That not what the fuck I just goddamn said?
I'm sorry if you don't understand that there's a very clear difference. There's a very clear difference between a shirt's not a good look and the very specific message of signal boosting with Candace Owens.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, hold on. Do you want to have a decent conversation or not?
Very low soft-spoken,
Do you want a conversation
voice.
or not?
All right?
Do you want a conversation or not? Because it seems like you're just going to be rude this whole time.
It makes me think that you're getting fucked in your ass right now.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Bro, this is silly.
If that's what you do, then that's what you do.
This is
all
silly
right?
and it's beneath me and it's beneath
But
you,
nigga,
bro.
you are not trying to seduce me. Okay?
Nigga, what are you talking about? Seduction?
I'm not going to fuck you.
What are you
all
talking
right, nigga?
Bro,
I'm not gay.
Yo, you want some gay
That's
stuff. I gotta go.
That was ridiculous. Think about it. I'm trying to have a decent conversation, black man to black man, and he starts hitting me with some buck-breaking, ridiculous homosexual nonsense for literally no reason. Because I'm trying to stay calm and have a conversation. We all know I can yell. We all know I like to, get up there. I typically want to save that stuff for either panels or people who I feel like I don't respect at all. Right there, I'm trying to have a decent conversation. This dude goes completely ham. So I lost respect for him there. Of course, I lost a lot of respect for Marcel for Congress. But here's the part that hurt me the most. People who have been watching my channel know how much I respect TD Hip Hop Media. He recently put out a video in which he was talking about, in which he said some pro-Republican things, which is, I listened to his content for so long and I loved a lot of his talking points about holding the Democrat Party accountable. He was informed about certain things before I was, so it was always like he's so well spoken and really intelligent. But to speak these pro-Trump things or pro-Republican things starts becoming really problematic. And then also pushing the misinformation that the Black Caucus supported the war on drugs or that we supported Bill Clinton's crime bill. That never happened. It never happened. I'll do a separate video on that for sure, I promise. But the fact of the matter is we cannot jump out of the frying pan and into the fire, which is what these black voices are doing. What I'm starting to believe is that most of these people in these spaces and most of these black voices aren't actually trying to elevate the black voices or elevate the black diaspora. What it feels like a lot of them are just trying to line their pockets. And it's scary to me because if these voices don't have our backs, we know we can't put our faith in Jesse Jackson and people like that. We get that. We know the people in the media are obviously not on our side. Where do we freaking turn? Who's there? Who's left? Who genuinely believes in black liberation and economic mobility? Reparations is an important conversation and it should be moving forward. But the conversation has stagnated within these spaces at it's a debt that's owed, it needs to be lineage based, and that's it. There's nothing else being said, it seems like, to elevate the conversation. What's really insane is that you'll find that almost all of these voices will block you. Look at this interaction with Marcel for Congress and CC Friedman. Look at what happens here. I made a small video while I was actively playing a game of League of Legends, and then she blocked me for this. Listen, I have no choice but to share this. This is crazy. I have to screen cap it. It starts off, this Marcel for Congress nigga is like support niggas that be saying pro-Trump nonsense. This dude, Huey P. student, I don't know, I don't think he's an FBA. He gets in some argument with this chick. They're going back and forth. Like, my brain can't. CC Peterson broad. Look at this. Marcel's critical of both sides, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and I'm calling out this pro-Trump rhetoric. I'm hypercritical of both parties. What he's doing is dangerous, though. We go back and forth, and by the time we get down to the end, she sits there, and she was like talking about Ketanji Brown, and she says that, look, do you think you're tweeting to a dummy? I'm a political science major and I have a law degree. Biden's Justice Department knew the Black Farm Bill wouldn't pass because it was race-based. Similar does nothing for Black Americans, and Ketanji is African. Child tax credit was for everyone. I respond and say Ketanji is an FBA. She says, nope. I'm like, this is so ignorant. Her parents were John and Ellery Brown. You literally assumed her lineage based on her name. I see why y'all are stuck on Twitter. No one wants to type out something truly censorious for the bad you spew. She says, stay mad. I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just pointing out how ridiculous it is. I'm sure we want the same thing. You just go about it in a bad way sometimes. Then she says, look at your cultures. You have the audacity to tell us what we are going about in the wrong way. Your countries are in shambles. You're fleeing all over the world and trying to take advantage of South Africans and Black American freedom with no regard for our well-being. Nigga, I am... What? There was that one? Then there was
Then she says this. Cause I said, yeah, when I said whatever, she says, okay, oh well, we're going to keep checking people's lineage and making sure that there are people are taken care of first. We're now acting like Africans and Caribbeans. The only difference is we're not jealous or hating. We are doing what is necessary to ensure our survival. Hold on, let me pick my runes. I say, but you didn't check her lineage. You just assumed it based on her name. I thought the same thing, but I went to check. I thought the first black female Supreme Court justice was a 980 ADOS. I was wrong. I just never said it with my chest. And got corrected online for it. She says, and guess what? Sometimes we'll get it wrong, but majority of the time we get it right. You're protecting our culture and do not give a dang what you or any other ethnicity thinks. You really think we don't know what you guys said about us behind our back? What are you saying? Like, nigga, this is crazy. These people are literally nuts.
It's insane. They're not even open to being criticized decently. If you are so fragile that you cannot be criticized, if you're so fragile that any opposition to your voice or any opposition to any of your messaging means that you instantly cut off that voice, then that means you're looking for just echo chambers, and you can't possibly hope to actually gain the things that you're talking about.
This game